Projecting from the local market today with Stan Chamu from IG in Melbourne. Stan, let's start on the currency front today. Interesting moves from the euro and also the yen overnight, as I just mentioned. What drove those moves?
Yeah, no, it did seem like the euro and the yen were probably the biggest movers out of the whole FX space. Of course, the euro, the dollar yen was one of the biggest sort of moves in the Asian trade yesterday, and this was really triggered by those comments made by the economy minister Amari. But it does seem like it was just a misinterpretation of his comments at first that caused that sharp drop down to around 88.28. It seems he had been sort of misunderstood. The comment came out as a headline suggesting that the yen has already corrected to levels that the fundamentals suggest it should be trading. And how it was interpreted by traders was that we shouldn't really expect any further weakness in the yen, and they're quite happy with the way it is now. But this was later revised to suggest that he's saying it is automatically correcting to levels that the fundamentals suggest that it should be trading at. So this saw it recover, and now it's just shy of 89 again. Of course, we will probably continue to see the dollar yen bought on those dips, and this will probably continue to drive the Nikkei as well. On the euro front, it was those comments by the Euro Finance Minister Jean-Claude Juncker, just suggesting that the euro, the currency is trading at some dangerous levels. And the implications of this was obviously that it will start to affect trade and in turn affect growth for the region. So the euro dropped from those recent highs near 134 down to around 132.6. So those were the two most interesting moves in the FX space. Of course, on the data front, we did have some economic data out of the US, kicking off with the CPI numbers, which did show some pretty solid improvement in sentiment, but this was overshadowed by the Empire State Manufacturing Index reading, which showed a pretty sharp contraction of around 7.1. This was a bit of a concern. Of course, everyone's hoping the US can dig itself out of that sort of slow growth phase that it's been in, and a contraction is never really a good thing for the US economy. At the same time, sentiment was waned by those debt ceiling concerns. Of course, we had President Obama on the wires yesterday, just hoping that Republicans won't use this as an opportunity to force through some spending cuts. But given the track record of politicians over in the US, it certainly seems like we will have another situation where it'll go right down to the wire. And the next month is probably going to be dictated by how these debt ceiling negotiations are going, and it's unlikely we'll get any significant progress until they really have to act.
Okay, what about the local market today, Stan? At the moment, we're looking at a fairly flat start and certainly keying off a flat finish on Wall Street overnight. What are you expecting from stocks here at home?
Well, so far we're expecting a relatively flat start at around that 47.16 level. So there's nothing much in it. I think focus will likely be mainly on the resource names. Of course, we're getting a few production reports coming through. Rio kicked off yesterday, but they finished the Australian session a touch lower, although of course their iron ore production came in slightly ahead of estimates, or roughly in line with estimates, while copper was a slight miss. It didn't seem like local investors were inspired to jump back into Rio Tinto shares. Of course, we did get a better lead for Rio in London trade, where it managed to edge higher. And this might feed through to the local market today, and we might see Rio trade a bit higher. Of course, at the same time, we'll probably start to see some broker revisions to production numbers, and this might feed through to its shares as well today, especially ahead of their next production report, where we'll probably see some more significant revisions to expectations going forward for production. We'll probably also hear a little bit more about what they expect to do with costs. I mean, given the slowdown that we've seen in the resources of late. But of course, this will probably not really extend to the other iron ore names. We've got Rio pointing down at the moment, but I mean BHP pointing down at the moment about 0.4%, down to around 36, 38. So that's quite disappointing, but they report production next week, so we'll probably continue to see it sort of chop around until we get those production numbers and we start seeing some reaction to company-specific news as opposed to just reacting to what iron ore prices are doing. At the same time, iron ore actually pulled back to I think 152.90 overnight, so this will be a bit of a negative for some of the iron ore names today. We might have some positive leads through for the gold names. Gold price is edged higher yet again. At the same time, Aquarius Platinum did quite well in London and Johannesburg, following news that its main rival Anglo might be looking to cut around 7% from its output due to some problems with some of its mines. So this might be one of the few bright spots in the market today.
Yes, Stan Shamu from IG, thanks for those calls, we appreciate it. Lending finance figures for November.